Welcome to the Reviews Without Remorse podcast with Joe and Dave. Be warned, the discussions in this podcast will contain detailed spoilers. For spoiler-free reviews of newly released films, please check out our channel Reviews Without Remorse on YouTube and VidMe. Enter at your own risk and enjoy the show. And welcome back to episode 10 of Reviews Without Remorse. Double digits.
I can't believe it!
On today's episode, the new trailer for the new Kingsman movie, The Circle of Something, or The Golden Something.
It's called The Golden Circle.
The Golden Circle, there you go.
Oh, god damn
And then, we will talk about our new series that we are going to discuss. We decided to change it up from the usual superheroes, well, so far superheroes, to a different action genre. We're going to talk about the Die Hard series.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Well, yeah, and not Mr. Falcon,
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
which is the television version.
Being a Kingsman is more than the clothing we wear or the weapons we bear. It's about being willing to sacrifice for the greater good. I hope you're ready for what comes next.
First of all, the first movie was fucking insane in all the awesome ways. Once you get a handle on the don't think of this as your typical action movie, this is a comic book action movie, I was just like all over it, and I enjoyed it a lot. And this trailer is just like taking all that original stuff and goes to the next level. I like the fact that they're still keeping up with the whole gentlemanly looking club and everything like that. What I don't like about this trailer, two major motherfucking spoilers in the motherfucking trailer. I was pissed about that. To the point that everybody I talked to, I've been telling them, hey, they asked me, hey, did you see the new trailer? And I'm like, yes, don't watch it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Well, I saw one big old spoiler, but I kind of feel like the one I'm thinking of, and I guess we're going to say it. Yeah, I guess we could talk about
We
it.
put a caveat in front of the show for spoilers. Sorry, folks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and, you know, by the time people hear this, it's well out there. The fact that they brought Colin Firth back from the dead, how are you going to hide that, though? I mean, he's in I'm sure he's in the cast, right? The cast list, so I can't imagine that they probably just said, look, everybody's going to know this one anyway. There's no point even trying to hide this. It's not really like a, plot twist.
Agreed.
Would have been nice if it was a surprise, but how are you going to keep it a secret?
You know what? You could have kept it a secret. You absolutely positively could have kept it a secret. You know,
maybe.
If there are ways to. When you went to see X-Men First Class, did you know that Wolverine was going to pop up at that one point in the movie? No, you didn't. And when it was fucking perfect when he did.
True.
Go fuck yourself.
We'll put it this way. Yeah. Go fuck yourself. Well, here's the thing. I don't know how they're going to do it in the movie, and frankly, if they bring him back in some kind of corny, cheesy way, but I mean, this is the kind of film that could just say, look, we can't think of a way to bring him back. Whatever we do, it's going to be kind of hokey, and it's going to be like, it's going to be a wink to the audience. Look, we don't know either, so let's just have fun with it. Mm-hmm. In that respect, if they tried to do it as some big secret twist, you'd probably say, well, come on, guys, whatever. It really depends on how it comes off. When we see it, we'll probably say, you know what, this could have been a nice surprise if you just kept it quiet, or, yeah, you're right. We know there's no right way to do this. We know we're just bringing it back because we want to, and we'll just have fun with it, so you might as well just know. That's my thoughts on that. But like I said, I definitely get your point, and it's valid for sure.
But here's the thing. I had heard that Colin Firth was coming back anyway, so,
Right.
I took it as, he'll probably be like in flashbacks or something like that. That's the way I looked at it. And so seeing that he's actually alive was kind of jolting to me. I wasn't expecting that, and it kind of disappointed. But the destruction of the entire Kingsman facility and everything like that, I mean, seriously, do we need to know that so soon? You couldn't hold out for that big shocking moment when everything, got destroyed. Not to mention the fact that it looks like the chick don't make it.
Well, it remains to be seen. I did have the same feeling when I saw the building explode. I said, okay, so it's just like Professor X's mansion again. Blowing up every movie. Let's just get that over with. Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, I liked the first Kingsman, but I didn't love it like a lot of people did. A lot of people were really head over heels for that movie. I thought it was okay, and for a guy who's really into James Bond, I should have liked it more, because it was definitely, and even this trailer, really nice tribute to the early James Bond films. Even the music, I noticed, was really nice.
Right.
I'm kind of getting a little tired of this plot. Remember Wanted? The one with Angelina Jolie and the bullets that curved and that crap.
Yeah, the shitty ass. Well, it's
fun but stupid.
Yeah.
This, the Kingsman reminded me of that a lot. It had a similar plot, and even the tone was kind of similar, because both of these, they kind of have a little sort of, for lack of a better way to say it, a little bit of an ugly streak, where the violence is a little too violent, and the something about it is just a little like for a movie that's fun and silly and not to be taken seriously. I sometimes that and over the top violence doesn't work for me. And again, I'm no prude when it comes to movie violence, but I really thought the scene in the church, the massacre,
right?
I don't know, kind of, like I said, maybe I'm showing my age, but it kind of rubbed me a little wrong. I wasn't crazy about it. And
do I have to get you a t-shirt that says, "Get off my lawn"?
Get off my lawn.
Yeah. No, listen, I get it. I know I know everybody loved it, and I know it's over the top. And again, it wasn't meant to be realistic. It wasn't meant to be... So I get that. I mean, I'm not trying to say that it was too this and too that. It was comic book violence, and like movies like Kick-Ass, they're getting a little more shocking with their violence, and I don't mind it. I didn't mind it in Kick-Ass at all, so I'm not sure why it irked me a little bit here. But, anyway, like I said, the whole, grabbing this young guy and bringing him in, it's kind of got that whole Last Starfighter kind of feel to it, and
right.
I kind of feel like it's getting a little overused, and, it's okay.
You're not the first person I've heard this. It's a love-hate relationship. People either adore it or they don't like it. And you're the first person I've met that has actually been in the middle, which I'm kind of fascinated by, frankly.
It's one of those things where I can see both sides of it. I can definitely see why somebody might not like it, and I can see why people would adore it.
It's a dumb plot. It's not a plot that makes a lot of sense, but look, I like a good cerebral movie as much as the next guy, okay? I like a good, comic book movie and so on and so forth. Sometimes you just need the fuck it, throw it against the wall and see what fucking comes down first.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And this movie kind of filled that particular void for me. It was really just a nice, don't think about it too much. Just sit there and just let it play. Just think of it like Matthew Vaughn, the director, who also directed Kick-Ass, who also directed the first Kingsman, who also directed X-Men First Class, who also directed Layer Cake. So you can thank Matthew Vaughn for Daniel Craig. Let's just put it right there.
Very true.
He's like the anti Michael Bay. Like, when Michael Bay directs an over-the-top scene, it's like it feels over the top. Somehow, Vaughn makes it feel visceral, makes it feel real, even though it's completely over the top. And
I'll buy that.
I really enjoy the way he frames a shot. That whole church scene, I mean, yeah, people say it's over the top, it's gory and stuff like that, but just watch the artistry of that scene.
Agreed.
You know that they, there were like trick cuts here and there, but just watching the ballet as the way Colin Firth just goes from one person to another. And I've seen behind the scenes stuff of how they filmed it, where it's basically bam, bam, and he's it's like he's doing a dance. And the timing of all that is some brilliant staging, and it just added to the grittiness of it, and it just made it feel real, even though you knew it wasn't real. There's no way Colin Firth walks into a frickin' church and the crazy button gets hit and everybody's got guns and knives and Colin Firth walks out alive. That doesn't happen.
Listen, I will not argue with a single word that you said. I definitely... It was a magnificent scene, and you're right. The choreography involved with it was really spectacular. The camera work was amazing. Yeah, no, listen, it's an excellent film. Like I said, it's just, it's like, I mean, there's some films you're just sort of waiting for it to grab you and you just jump on board. Like, put it this way, for a story like this, like I said, I compared it to like The Last Starfighter and Wanted,
right. Which is actually a very good comparison. We have to talk about Wanted for 5 seconds as well, but go on.
A film like that where protagonist is a regular schmo who's bored with his life and would love some adventure, and suddenly is whisked up in this world and he becomes the hero. That's a story I should really have no problem getting involved with and really getting behind the hero and really kind of feeling the excitement that he must feel. When it misses the mark, I say to myself, well, okay, now why didn't I get into that? I don't know. And maybe it was something about the kid who played the character. Maybe I couldn't get into him.
I will admit that he took a little getting used to. It wasn't until the end of the flick that I really started feeling for him.
Yeah. I didn't find him to be a very likable character. And granted, I don't need to like everybody. There's a lot of great films where I don't like all the characters involved necessarily. Mm-hmm. So, but again, in a film like this, I would think that I would. I would think that I'd really be kind of on board with him and enjoying it. But I don't know. There was something about him that I kind of just couldn't get with. And toward the end, when he sort of becomes, the great part is when he goes to rescue the girl, and he's like, "Are we gonna have sex after this?" And she's like, "Hell yeah," or whatever. And she says, "I'll be right back." I mean, funny. I mean, it was good stuff. And again, it was like a nice tribute to 007, classic 007, and I like that part of it. Yeah, but again, I don't know, just something about the people in it and stuff. I just had a hard time getting into. So, like I said, I mean, it's good. I don't not like it. It's just, like I said, it didn't kind of grab me. I wasn't running out to get the DVD or anything when it came out.
Well, sometimes here's the funny thing. You mentioned Kick-Ass, you mentioned Wanted. Those are all comic books written by the same guy, Mark Miller.
Oh, it's interesting.
The man.
There's a reason why they have that feel.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why they have that feel. All three of them written by the same guy. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure Mark Miller and Matthew Vaughn are having a love affair. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. But I'm looking forward to it. I don't like the fact that the trailer again spoiled too much, but it was nice seeing everybody back. I love Mark Strong. I think he's like one of the underrated actors of this generation. But every time he's in a part in a movie, he's fucking awesome. He was fucking awesome in the goddamn Green Lantern movie. In the motherfucking Green Lantern movie, that guy was awesome. So yeah, he was the perfect Sinestro.
Okay, I'll buy that. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I mean, I'll definitely check out Kingsman again before the second one comes out. So I'll, maybe we'll revisit it when the new one comes out.
I wouldn't mind. I would definitely not mind revisit it. It's at my office. Oh god, it's the most popular movie at my office. Everybody wants to watch that fucking movie.
We thank you one and all and wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
It's Christmas Eve in L.A. But a team of terrorists.
You want money? What kind of terrorists are you?
Who said we were terrorists?
Have their own holiday plans.
And I'm telling you, you're just going to have to kill me.
Okay. We do it the hard way.
But the one thing they didn't plan on was New York cop John McClane.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew? Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
But speaking of genre-defining action movies...
Yes, sir.
Okay, as a preamble, ladies and gentlemen, there's a good possibility that if you're not within our family, that some of you listeners are young people. And back in 1988, which is probably before you were born, this was a defining action movie. This was the benchmark of action movies for a good 10 years, maybe?
I'll buy that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it was also the movie that gave us Bruce Willis. That's for better or for worse, depending upon your own personal perspective. Personally, one of the best things that came out of this movie is Alan motherfucking Rickman.
There you go. That's it. There's a guy who was 50s when this came out, just starting, and this was his first big movie.
Yeah, it was actually he was in his I want to say he was in his late 30s, early 40s, dude. I don't think he was that old.
No, you think?
He was only like in his late 60s when he died, dude.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't know. We can do the math on that. If you give me a minute, I'll do the math. He did the math. But yes, Die Hard, the action movie that redefined the way action movies were done. That
Agreed.
Made the careers of John McTiernan, of Alan Rickman, of Bruce Willis. Hell, even Reginald Vell Johnson wound up, going to that TV show with fucking Urkel.
You're right.
Yeah.
Seriously. And and it's funny too. as much as it redefined the action genre, we were not lacking in action movies in the 80s by any stretch. We had great action movies in the 80s. You know, we were kind of in the Stallone/Schwarzenegger era. So this was definitely like a shift in what action movies really were. Mm-hmm. And yeah, completely redefined. I mean, for years, all you ever heard was like, oh, you got to see this movie. It's Die Hard on a boat. It's Die Hard on a bus. It's Die Hard on a plane. It's Die Hard. It's like, okay, it was Die Hard something, you know?
Exactly.
It completely redid what action movies were. And I'll even go this far. I think it is literally the perfect action film. I think it is probably the greatest action film ever. And I know you're going to throw out and say, wait, hang on. What about, like, Raiders of the Lost Ark? Or what about, like, Terminator 2? I think strictly as an action genre, like, if you had to just sort of say, like, to me, like, Indiana Jones is more of an adventure series. And, you know, something else would be sci-fi. If you strictly said, okay, best action movie ever, I'm going with the original Die Hard. I really think that, like, go back in time to when you saw him jump off that building, tied only to the fire hose, and kicking and shooting his way into the window. That had to be the most over the top, like you were on the edge of your seat when that happened.
Oh, it's so hard to recapture that in any movie these days because you know most of it is bullshit CGI. When the top of that building blew up, they blew up the top of that fucking building. They set off fire things off the top of the God, it was the Fox Tower. It's like, oh my God, the love I have for this movie is I'm not disagreeing with you. The more I think about it, you're absolutely right. We had this argument. We once had this argument about what's the best action movie. But through the years, and believe me, my work, you know how I was saying my work enjoys watching Kingsman all the time? This is the other movie they like watching all the time. Every Christmas, we watch Die Hard. Why? Because it's a fucking Christmas movie.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. And again, I think it really... This also really marks... I mean, there's other films that know this and that know how to doing an action movie, like strictly trying to get the action right. That, I find, is you have to know how to do it. And there are few films that can do it. James Cameron, he knows how to do it. Die Hard, again, is the perfect illustration of how you do it, where you start with your feet firmly planted on the ground, and everything stays as grounded as possible, probably for as long as possible.
Right.
So that when it finally just goes way over the top and just goes totally balls to the wall, you were on board. You were completely on board. You've been sold. You're on board with it, and you'll take what they tell you at that point. Like I remember the part when he and I want to say Han. No, what's the guy's name? The long blonde hair guy.
Oh shit! Oh, I never. It played by Alexander Goodenough. That much I remember. Oh god, fuck Carl.
Thank you.
Carl, yes.
The part when he shows up and they start fighting, and that over the top fight where it's like, I mean, it's like, and again, go back to when you first saw this. When you saw that fight was brutal. The sound effects were brutal. That meat smacking, clanging head, bones crunching, hurt. I mean, you felt like that was, oh my God, like it was brutal. And that was just sort of the takeoff of the finale. And I the part when he, like, after he's taking care of Carl, he goes run up to the roof. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm going to get his wrong. I'm just going to call him Endo, because he's Endo from Lethal Weapon. He's always going to be Endo to me. When he comes running back inside, and you see his eyes go, holy shit, and there's John McClane. But you don't even see him yet. All you see is like, boom, 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 boom. The bullet holes go flying through Endo. And then he drops, and there's John McClane standing there, like, with the gun in the air. You're just like, what? like, that was when it just went crazy. And it just kept on going. And then, I mean... Like, seriously, I'll never forget, like, being in the theater watching that. Oh, my God, I was just going crazy. I mean, honest to God, like I said, there's guys who can do action. There's guys who know how to elevate, start from a point where you're grounded. Again, like I think the other master of this, and I wish he would get back to it, is James Cameron. And my favorite example of James Cameron's screenplay is actually one he didn't even do, was Rambo 2.
Right, he wrote Rambo 2, I remember that.
He wrote the script for Rambo 2, and again, he didn't, it was Stallone that kind of injected it with a little more, patriotism and politics, but the action that was all James Cameron, and he knows, again, and the original Terminator, same way, Terminator 2.
And on a low budget with Terminator, the first Terminator.
Yeah, but even the original Terminator, again, it's like, he knows how to up the ante, like he starts low, action picks up, and it's like almost when you think, when you're finally breathing a sigh of relief, oh my god, glad that's over, something else bigger happens. Like, Terminator, they wipe out the Terminator and they blew up the truck, and she thinks it's all over. All of a sudden, now the skeleton of the robot Terminator stands up in the fire. Like, that's Cameron. Die Hard does the same thing. Again, starts small, elevates, brings it higher until it just hits this crescendo where you're just like, I'm going to use a word, it's orgasmic by the time like that. It's just, I mean, you just hit this perfect peak. Where just everything is going crazy, and it's just, like I said, it just makes the perfect action movie. It
builds. It really, really builds. It earns when it gets to the point where the ridiculous, and it does. Let's face it. If you saw it out of context, some of the stuff can be ridiculous. But by the time it gets to that, it's kind of built on this wonderful foundation. It starts with these grounded characters, troubled family and so on and so forth. In comes the bad guys. What the fuck are the bad guys up to? Couple of shots here, couple of shots there, walking around, no glass. It just keeps escalating. And it's like, it's almost like like McTiernan is daring the audience. Oh, you thought that was bad? Oh, wait, there's this. Now,
right.
Now he's got to run through the glass to escape. Now he's got fucking glass in his feet. Now he's stuck on the top of the building while the FBI is shooting at him. Now the top of the building's blowing up. Now he's got this thing going off, and he crashes through the window. And now the fire hose is falling down, and he's falling down. And he happens to be on a carpet, which is sliding him out the window. And now he's got 2 bullets left to save his wife from the 2 bad guys left over.
Yeah.
I mean, come on! Out of context, that sounds like the most insane thing ever, and there's no way he should have survived, but god damn it! The way it was shot, the way it was acted, it just worked. Every element of it just worked perfectly. Down to the when they had William Atherton, Dickless from Ghostbusters. The minute I saw his face on the screen, even that first time back in '88, it's like, oh, that guy's up to no good. That's the Ghostbusters guy. He's up to no good.
Seriously, yeah. The asshole from Ghostbusters and the principal from The Breakfast Club. But you just knew, the 2 biggest jerks in the '80s are in this movie.
Oh god. Oh god. It's funny. I watched it over the weekend, and I'm going to go to work tonight, and I'm going to suggest it as the movie tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
I've seen it so many times. And ladies and gentlemen, kids, especially kids, if you haven't seen this movie yet, please, try to understand. It's not special effects. Okay, they actually fired a sort of rocket out of a window onto a truck and made it explode. That's not special effects. Yeah. They actually did that. The only real special effects in the movie was when when McClane dropped the bomb on that one floor. Which, by the way, ironically, that's the floor where the Fox executives' main offices are.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
Yeah.
But
that is funny.
That was the only real special effect that they did. But everything else that happened in that goddamn movie, they did with practical effects. Something you'll never see anymore. Okay? Just, oh, God. I'm seriously, I'm having flashbacks to when I first saw the movie, and it's so hard. It's like that first really good steak. Do you know what I mean? The first time you have that really good steak, that is such a fleeting moment. It's just, and it never happens again. And this movie was that fleeting moment. And you kind of wish you can get like the neuralizer from Men in Black, or maybe do a freaking Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and just kind of erase it from your just to experience it again.
Yeah.
Because it's the movie that to this day the action genre still cribs from in every little way. Okay. the good guy, the partner, the outside voice, and so on and so forth. The mystery, the it's not exactly what you think it is. It's not a terrorist thing. It's actually a money thing type situation. And all of it.
See, that's the thing. I mean, I've been talking more or less strictly about the action, but you're absolutely right. Every other element in this film works. I mean, the fact that think about the terrorists in the film.
I thought I told all of you I want radio silence until further...
I'm very sorry, Hans. I didn't get that message. Maybe you should have put it on the bulletin board. But I figured since I waxed Tony and Marco and his friend here, I figured you and Carl and Franco might be a little lonely, so I wanted to give you a call.
How does he know so much about this?
Think about all the names that get thrown around because, because again, see, another brilliant thing that this film does, there's always talk about geography. Mm-hmm. Especially in an action scene. You need to understand the geography of the room. You need to know where's left, where's right, and when you run. They've got a whole building, a lot of different floors to keep track of, and they do that.
Yeah.
They do that, and beyond the physical geography, the people involved. They keep track of how many bad guys there actually are. When you watch Rambo, okay? Now, great action film, right? Mm-hmm. I was watching something the other day, and they said, in the beginning of Rambo, when Murdoch kind of runs down his list of accomplishments, 4 bronze, Purple Hearts, whatever, Medal of Honor, and he says something like, 60-something confirmed kills, whatever. He says, well, in the film, he's got something like 80 or 90 kills in that film.
in Rambo 2.
In Rambo 2, right. In the first one, right, he kind of accidentally takes out one sheriff. Ooh, that's bad. In Rambo 2, he just machine guns and terrorizes 80, 90 people. And they're just faceless drones. We don't know who they are. We don't care who they are. They're bad. We know they're bad, and that's all we need to know. In Die Hard, again, it's one guy against a lot of guys. But they keep track of how many guys there are. They keep track of how many guys we go through. So we always know there's still bad guys out there. You're not done yet, John. There's still other guys. Not just, nameless minions that kind of come around from every corner and just sort of fill the room. No, we keep track of who's here. Mm-hmm. And not only that, they get names and personalities. We know things about a lot of these guys. Even the 2 brothers. You had Carl and his brother, who ends up being the first one that he takes out, by the way.
Yep.
But even the 2 of them kind of were sort of bickering and, had some kind of weird little competition going on between them, which was sort of funny,
With the scene where he's trying, the older brother, who's, okay, the only bullshit I'm ever going to call on this movie is this. The older brother was 7 feet tall, okay? And he was the electronics expert. There he is. He's trying to cut off the phone lines without, it sending any type of signals. And along comes his brother Carl, crazy Alexander Goodenough from Witness, who just chainsaws through everything.
Yeah.
And he's trying to catch up, and he manages to do it just before he chainsaws the last line. But the only bullshit, which is the example you're talking about, it's a great little character moment, even just for the bad guys.
Right.
And other little ticks with Gruber and everything like that. But the bullshit that I want to call is, like I said, the guy is 7 feet tall, and McClane goes to take his shoes. No 7 foot tall fucking guy has smaller feet than Bruce Willis. I'm calling bullshit on that right now.
Yeah. That's what, I never even really noticed that. I never noticed how tall he was, but you're right. He is this 6'6" Ken doll.
Yeah, at least very taller than Bruce Willis. Because when you're watching the fight scene, it's not like a tremendous difference, but it's enough of a difference that when he points out, "Oh man, your shoe size don't fit," it's really? How the fuck do you stand if you have smaller feet than Bruce Willis? Unless Bruce Willis has clown feet. We didn't actually. We saw his feet through most of the movie. They looked like normal sized feet.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together. Have a few laughs.
But yeah, no, every one of them had their ticks. Another one of my favorite. Oh God, I don't remember his name. The Asian guy. They're getting ready. The SWAT team is coming. He's over there. He's right by the concession stand. He looks down. Is that a clock bar? And he steals the goddamn clock bar or whatever it was.
Yeah, right.
It's fucking yes.
Yeah. It's so great, and I love that part too. You're talking about the part where the SWAT guys are coming in.
Yeah,
it's such a tiny little moment, but I love when the SWAT guys are running up and they're running through the rose bushes.
Uh-huh.
And the badass SWAT guys, all of a sudden, one of them goes, ouch! Like, he cuts his finger on like a thorn in the rose bush. Like, how perfect, you know?
It really was. It's in part of it, and that's part of the reason why you probably enjoyed it more, because they grounded it with relatively, like, breathing characters. You know, okay, sure, we didn't know the backstory of the Asian guy, you know, why he was part of this group or anything like that. Or that tall guy who was doing the phony American accent. Oh, I got $50 on this game when Al came in to inspect the building. Or anything like that.
The guy who looks like Huey Lewis.
Yeah, the Huey Lewis looking motherfucker. But in a way you didn't need to, because they kind of imbued the characters with these little ticks that, you know, just it made them feel alive, and because they felt so real, it made the action as it built that much more like urgent. Like the action meant something. Like every single one of these people, even these fuckers, even the dumb asshole fucking terrorist motherfuckers, you know, even the hacking guy, for God's sakes, the freaking hacking guy. With the satisfaction you get when Argyle punches out the hacking guy, and he was an arrogant little prick.
Seriously, right? That was and it's perfect too, because again, he wasn't. This guy wasn't there for you know. He was there to be a computer hacker. He's not a big fighter, you know. So the fact that Argyle took him out was perfect. Yeah, it was beautiful.
They have already killed one hostage.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Lady, do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza? You really an American?
Only if New Jersey counts.
What does he think he's doing?
Job.
There's the artillery on us.
Good idiot. It's not the police.
It's him.
He's an easy guy to like.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis. Die Hard.
Every person had a moment. You know, even the douchebag cokehead.
It's obvious you're not some dumb schmuck up here to snatch a few purses. Am I right?
You're very perceptive.
I watch 60 Minutes. I say to myself, these guys are professional. They're motivated. They're happening, i.e., they want something, huh? Now, personally, I couldn't care less about your politics. Maybe you're pissed off at the camel jockeys. Maybe it's the Hebes, Northern Ireland. It's none of my business. I figure you're here to negotiate. Am I right?
You're amazing. You figured this all out already.
They introduce this guy. He's a cokehead. He's a real jerk. He's smarmy and everything like that. And he's like, I'm going to talk to Hans. And you'll see. And And, like, you know, you hate that fucking guy. But when the time comes and he's talking to Hans, you feel like the first time I saw the movie, I'm seeing this guy's like, this guy's an asshole. I hope he's the first to go. And then when he's there with Hans, I'm thinking like, oh God, I felt horrible.
Hans, Bobby, I'm your white knight.
I must have missed 60 Minutes.
Yeah, right.
About the douchebag guy. Because, and you know what it was, honestly? It was because he made it seem to Hans like this was a friend of his from college and not Holly's husband. So the fact that he still was smart enough to protect Holly was the thing that made me like the guy for that brief moment. Yeah, he was a smarmy little douche, but at least he wasn't an idiot.
Right, and even and then the last few seconds when you see like the actual desperation in his face, where he's going like,
John,
you know, where he realizes, oh, this was a bad idea. Like a couple seconds before the gun goes off, you feel like, oh, sorry, buddy. Yeah, you feel for him. So I totally get it.
And but what movie does that? To every other action movie, everybody's cannon fodder. You know, if you're not the main hero, this person is cannon fodder. They don't need anything else than, hey, this is my uncle's brother's sister's cousin's next, you know, like The Last Action Hero, which, by the way, is a movie we should cover.
I'd be up for that, sure.
All right, we should definitely, because that's also another John McTiernan movie, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, this was completely new at the time. This was completely new, where it felt like a breathable world and not just a set piece for this to happen. Sure, okay, fine. Yes, the building was certainly the set piece, but it wasn't the centerpiece. It was the people in the situation that was the centerpiece. The building just happened to be the tool that you used to tell the story.
Right.
And it's still, no matter how many times I watch it, it's still just, it makes me giggle. And it doesn't bring me back to 88 when I first saw it, because when I first saw it, it was, all right. this movie, as an action movie, affected me similarly the way Star Wars affected me when I first saw it.
Mm-hmm.
It was, to me, a defining movie and a benchmark. And to me, any movie that calls itself an action movie, this is the benchmark I put it up against. And it's one of the reasons why I really could never get into the Fast and the Furious movies. Because
right.
It's just it's too generic, and I don't feel enough for the characters, and the action is overstaged.
Yeah.
All right, the action is way too overstaged. For God's sakes, in one of the movies, they frickin' drove a car out of a building, and it drove into another fucking building.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's exactly. They get too crazy and too nonsensical. You're right. I want to go back to something you were saying before. You know, we were talking about Argyle getting to punch out the guy. I love how when you look back, all of them. I mean, everybody got their moment. Not only Argyle gets to punch out the hacker, but then of course you get the part with Reginald Vell Johnson taking out Carl.
Yeah, Al.
And again, that was the climax to his backstory, where and I'll say this too. If you look at it, if you kind of look at it in a more cynical light, it's a little kind of funny. Poor Reginald Vell Johnson can't bring himself to pull out a gun and shoot anybody. Well, here it almost reminds me of The Naked Gun when they give him awards for this is for shooting 100 bad guys. Like, good for me. I can finally shoot people again. But it was his backstory. He did get to he got his he came full circle too. So there was a great satisfaction in that. And then you get the other minor victory when Holly punches out what's his face,
Dickless.
Dick Thornburg. Yeah, she punches him out, and so everybody gets one. Again, Holly was sort of like I wouldn't definitely not say she was badass by any stretch in this film. She was the damsel in distress, but she also was a straight talker, and she told Hans where to go, and she called him this, called him that. So it was nice to see her finally just get to punch somebody out at the end, and she was the one because they went in, harassing the maid, scaring the kids. Mm-hmm. So good, good that he got a little punch in the nose. It was great, So yeah, I like the fact that again, like you said, in a worse action film, the action star gets to do all the work and gets all the accolades, and he gets to do everything heroic. Here, everybody gets something. Everybody got a little something, even if it's just Argyle, Holly, and why can't I think of his name? What's his name again?
Which character?
Sergeant Al Pell.
Al Pell, yeah. Al Pell.
So, yeah, I like that everybody got something, and again that's also the screenplay is great. The screenplay to this film, and again going back to how it starts off really grounded. I love the part when I kind of feel like this is sort of like just an underrated little moment, but when McClane gets to the hotel. Him and Holly finally have a minute to themselves, and right at the moment where she says, she missed him, he says, oh, but you didn't miss my name, did you? And they get into the little argument.
Yes.
Now that, first of all, the spat, just the little spat they get into, it just feels like you're a fly on the wall in a real argument. That just rings of a very typical couples argument, and I thought it was wow, this feels like an argument that any one of us would have with our wives or girlfriends. Mm-hmm. And again, I love the fact that as soon as it's over, he's smacking his own head saying, all right, dummy, good going. You took about 3 seconds to blow this, So again, I love it. I love that. And I love that they're doing realistic dialogue, which again, like I said, it grounds everything. So when shit gets real and starts getting crazy, you're kind of on board because you know these people a little bit. You know them and you believe them. So, yeah, just well done on the screenplay.
Yeah, I'm almost exhausted talking about it. It's just, it fills us both. We've had many drunken night discussions about this movie. It's kind of, it feels like, it almost feels weird to put it down in a podcast format because it's kind of like, man, this is like almost 15 years of debates between the two of us.
Yeah, right.
And
again,
more.
this, yeah. And the funny part is, again, it's hard to. I find it's hard to do the great movies because, again, we're going to spend a lot of time gushing, talking about why it is so good.
Yep.
But then, as we go down the line a little bit, we're going to be talking about Die Hard 2, Die Hard 3, Die Hard 4, Die Hard 5. And all of them, and frankly, I remember you and I talking about Die Hard 3. It was one of the earliest movie conversations we ever had.
Yes, that's right.
And
we didn't agree on that one.
Well, I don't think it was a wild disagreement. It wasn't like one of us loved it, one of us hated it. But yeah, you're right. We did kind of, we had, one of us was a little more forgiving than the other. I'll just say that. I won't tip the
two more
cards just yet.
That's safe. Keep an eye out for episode 12, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. But yes, talking about Die Hard 1 again, you're just talking about why everything works and why it works so well, and it's a fantastic film, and they really just get everything right, and it's amazing. I was listening to somebody else talk about how they didn't did they redefine action? Not necessarily. They just got everything right. You had competent people who know how to do a great action film and did everything the right way, and everything just lines up. It's like, you don't get a lot of films like that where just everything works. Everything hits the right mark. Every T is crossed, every I is dotted. We got characters that we like, situations we can relate to, characters we can relate to. And like I said, a slow buildup of action. The disagreements between each character, the motive of every character is perfect. We get it. Most of the bad guys, they're just there to steal money. But again, that is revealed slowly. That's a little twist. It's not even like the not the M. Night Shyamalan twist to beat all twists kind of, but just a little curveball. Halfway through the film, you realize, oh, wait a second, this is what this is about. This is why they're doing what they're doing, not the other stuff that they said. It's funny. He has them running around outside calling about different, weird little terrorist factions all over the world, and meanwhile he's up there trying to get into the safe. It's real simple, So again, there's a level of complexity, yet a simplicity to this film.
And again, going back to those subtle moments, you just reminded me of one of my favorite moments with Rickman, where he's like reading off a list of names, and Carl looks at him with this quizzical look on his face, like, "What's this group?" And and Hans covers the phone. He's like, "I saw a special on them on 60 Minutes." Yeah, I love that. Just John McTiernan. He doesn't get a lot of love as much as he used to, but back in the 80s, this man hit like the trifecta.
Yeah.
Before he did Die Hard, he did Predator, the first Predator.
Yes.
After Die Hard, he did The Hunt for Red October.
Right.
That was his 3 movies. That was like, it's like if he had said, "Okay, I'm never making a fucking movie again," I'd have been like, "Dude, going out on fucking top. Good for you."
Yeah. Very true.
About the only thing that I will say of really good note that he did since then, I think the last good movie he did was the Thomas Crown Affair remake.
Yeah. I tell you what, I will completely agree with you there. In fact, I was just watching. This is kind of like really off topic. You know what I watched the other night, because I guess Mary had never seen it, was you ever see After the Sunset?
Oh my god, years ago,
with Pierce Brosnan and Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
So funny, because when I saw that, I said to myself, that really could have easily been a sequel to the Thomas Crown Affair. If they just tweaked that a little bit, they could have had a pretty reasonable sequel to the Thomas Crown Affair. It
probably was originally intended as one. For whatever reason, they just couldn't do it for whatever, But
yeah, I don't know why. Because maybe it's, maybe somebody just said, like, that movie's fine as it is. It doesn't need a sequel. But then this comes along, and I'm like, geez, this really plays out like it's the sequel to Thomas Crown Affair.
Yeah. No, the man, he did a tremendous job. He truly he defined 3 genres. How the fuck awesome is that this man McTiernan defined 3 genres? He completely changed the sci-fi horror movies with Predator. He basically defined the political thriller with The Hunt for Red October, and he defined the way action movies have been ever since. And then what happened to you, John? Where did you go? Where are you, John McTiernan?
Yeah, and he actually did come back and do Die Hard 3, which
Die Hard with a Vengeance. We'll get to that.
I remember when they announced him for that film. I was really excited, like I said, I won't get into that film yet. I'll save it. But I just remember when they announced that he was coming back for the third one, I was very excited about it.
And so was I. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that one. But yeah, no, his career has been kind of spotty. He followed up Hunt for Red October with Medicine Man, then Last Action Hero, Die Hard with a Vengeance, 13th Warrior, Thomas Crown Affair, the remake of Rollerball.
Okay.
And Basic, something called Basic. And that was his last movie. That was, Jesus Christ, dude, that was 14 years ago. That was his last movie.
You smoke?
Yeah. Thanks. You don't work for Nakatomi. And if you're not one of them...
I'm a cop from New York.
New York?
Yeah. Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew? Yeah. Better being caught with your pants down, huh? I'm John McClane. You're,
Clay. Bill Clay.
You know how to use a handgun, Bill?
I spent a weekend at a combat ranch. You know that game with the guns that shoot red paint? Probably seems kind of stupid to you.
Well, time for the real thing, Bill. All you gotta do is pull the trigger. Come on.
33. Stockwerk. Kommt. Sofort. Put down the gun. And give me my detonators.
Well. Hans.
Put it down now.
It's pretty tricky with that accent. You gotta be on fucking TV with that accent. But what do you want with the detonators, Hans? I already used all the explosives. Or did I?
I'm going to count to 3.
Yeah. Like you did with Takagi. Oops. No bullets. You fucking stupid, Hans.
You're saying?
And by the way, for the record, Mr. Alan Rickman was 32 years old when they filmed Die Hard.
Really?
Yep.
I would have sworn he was easily in his 40s at least, mid to late 40s.
He definitely carried himself very, very well. Like,
yes. Oh my God, he seems like a kid now that I think about it. Back then.
Oh yeah, 32 years old.
Good for him.
Yeah, tell me about it. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see something that's truly defining experience in action in 80s movies, I mean, and it came out in 88. It was like the capper for action movies. Some people will say that it was Tim Burton's Batman in 89 that defined the 80s movies. You know what? Don't agree with that. Not at all. I think that Die Hard is truly the pinnacle of where 80s action was heading, and I don't think anybody could ever
I'll tell you what.
do it.
You know what? It's funny you say that, because I'll do you one better. I kind of feel like when it comes to 80s action movies, I still sort of go back to Rambo, Commando, that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, I feel like Die Hard is really the one that kind of ushered in the 90s. You know, kind of ushered in the new era of action films and took it to the next level. That we are still, like you said, still kind of cheating from. It's the playbook we're still looking at.
And it would be nice if somebody, it'd be really, really nice if somebody came along and got that going,
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening anytime soon. I gotta be completely honest with you. I think that the true genius of an action movie is lost on modern audiences, and it's just everything needs to be bigger and better and so on and so forth. For God's sakes, if you want to get ridiculous, you can argue that the frickin' comic book movies understand action better than any of these other so-called action movies.
And I'll tell you what we didn't do today?
No! I was going to get me through the episode without saying one bad thing about DC.
I was like, we're gonna make it. We went through a whole episode without cracking on DC.
Why did you have to say that? I was just.
Well, but we still haven't cracked. We mentioned them. That's all.
Yeah, I think it's time to end this episode fast.
You just destroyed a building. I am in charge of this situation.
Well, I got some bad news for you. From up here, that look like you're in charge of Jack.
He is alone, he is tired, and he hasn't seen diddly squat from anybody down here.
Hey, pal, how you feeling?
All things being equal, I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
And you have it.
Only John can drive somebody that crazy.
He's an easy guy to like.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
And a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew?
And with that, that will conclude this episode, our discussion of Die Hard, and we will be back next week with another discussion about Die Hard 2, Die Harder.
I think that was an unofficial subtitle, but yes.
The posters say Die Harder, Die Hard 2. I think that was the official name. Like, I think they kind of rewrote history a little bit, just started calling it Die Hard 2. But I'm telling you, it was Die Harder.
Hold on. Die Hard. Oh God. The making of Die Hard 2. According to IMDb, it's just Die Hard 2. But. But the poster definitely does say Die Harder. I mean, you just know some marketing exec, thought that up, thought he was brilliant, that snorted coke off of some model's ass. You just know that. Yes, I am looking forward to Die Hard 2.
Same here. That's where things are going to get kind of interesting, I think. Like I said, it's right now we're just praising perfection, but then we're going to get into the little, what's different, what's off, what's good, what's bad. So we will get into it. We will discuss.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, we will.
Alrighty.
Oh, awesome, dude. It was great talking with you about this. I am not looking forward to finishing this series, though, because I know it's just going to slide.
Yeah, well, that'll be full of fireworks, that one.
But it'll be a good show.
It will. All right, my friend. I will see you here next week.
All right. Good night, my friend. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Reviews Without Remorse podcast with Joe and Dave. Join us here every Thursday for a new episode. And be sure to check out the Reviews Without Remorse channel on YouTube and VidMe for spoiler-free reviews of new releases, as well as in-depth discussions of current and classic cinema. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider becoming a patron. You can find our page at patreon.com. As little as $1 a month goes a long way. All clips in this podcast are used for commentary and critique, and is considered fair use. No copyright infringement is intended.